Hello and welcome to Morning Fuel. I'm your host, John Bundy, and you are here because you believe in the power of the spoken word and its ability to change lives, and that by sharing our stories, we can help others to overcome challenges that they cannot overcome on their own. Whether it's a victory you need to win in business or in your own personal life, you understand that the answers can be found in listening to stories of others who are willing to share their story, knowing that it doesn't belong to them. All right, today's guest, Brian Bayford, the owner of Reef In Peace. You guys are not going to believe this. We're going to ask some questions that is on everyone's minds that sees this product for the first time, this service for the first time. It is unbelievable. And I just want to introduce you to a good friend and a business owner, mentor, associate, Brian Bayford. He has owned multiple businesses over his career, and this latest one is phenomenal. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. It's good to be here.
Yeah, man, great to have you. So, wow, we're enjoying some time down here in Florida. Florida's a different kind of hot.
It
but
is. I don't think it's much hotter than Virginia. It doesn't seem that much different to me.
Okay.
But, come January and December, here it's still 75, 85 degrees. It's not in Virginia.
Right. That's right. That's when everyone's chilling inside.
Absolutely.
And outside. Very cool. So, wow. So if you could talk to us about the idea. I know we've been talking about this a lot, but talk to us about the idea for Reef In Peace and how you came up with that.
So the idea originally came from my father. He didn't know he was giving me the idea, but he did. He was actually working in his workshop type of a garage. And I showed up to visit him in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And I said, "What are you doing, Dad?" He said, "I'm mixing peat." And I said, "What do you mean you're mixing peat?" And he said, "Well, this is my best friend Pete's ashes, and I'm putting them in a bucket of cement because he wants to be in his favorite fishing hole." And my first response was, "Wow, that's illegal." But it's a great idea. So,
Right.
Over the course of time, I pursued it and had to get, permissions and permits and things through different governmental agencies, and each state has its own list, long, did I say long?
Yeah.
Long list
I can
of rules and regulations to work with. So we're jumping through all the hoops we need to jump through, and the business is up and running and doing a little bit better each and every month.
Fabulous. So from the time of that idea, when did it become wow, this could be a business?
That was within about 30 seconds of talking to my father.
Okay. Serial entrepreneur, you are.
My mind works in that direction. I love business. I love doing business, and I love building businesses.
Fantastic. So from that idea, 30 seconds after your dad introduced you to what he was doing, how long did it take for you to get Reef In Peace to the point where it is now?
Well, that took about 4 years. And my wife was just doing lots of work, all the legwork on the computer, getting through everything with all the different states and the federal government and the VMRC, Virginia Marine Resource Commission in Virginia, and getting exact sites and coordinates available for what different reef sites we can actually use. So right now we're using reef sites in Florida, in South Carolina, and Virginia. My preferred state is Florida, though, because it's 18 to 21 foot, depending on the tide, of clear water. So on a really good day, somebody could go out to the spot because they'll have the coordinates. They can go out to the spot. They can actually look down and see memorials. And when it's 18 foot of water, if somebody's a good swimmer, they can snorkel that, which is pretty cool.
Wow. So just my imagination runs wild on that. So being able to, instead of going to a graveyard, you can just swim and view the tombstone or the monument.
Yeah, we call it a memorial, and it's actually made out of crushed oyster shells, coral calcium, and concrete, and it's a tetrahedron type shape, so like a pyramid, but with a flat top. And on the flat top is where we place a plaque, has the name and dates, and they might want a scripture or a saying or something their loved one would want to be on top of that, so that gets placed on top of that before we deploy the memorial.
Now, there are holes in this, and I guess that leads me to my next question about this. This is something that you purport as an ecologically beneficial
Right.
addition to the environment.
Right, not environmentally friendly, but environmentally beneficial.
Okay, talk to us a little bit about that.
So there's a couple reasons. One is the materials we're using with the oyster shells and the coral calcium in the mixture, and it take, goodness, I can't even tell you how many test memorials I made to get the exact mixture that's going to work best. But we put them through a series of different things, letting them sit in an acidic-based rain. Excuse me, putting them in the York River, putting them in the Chesapeake Bay, putting them in the Atlantic Ocean, see just how they last and how fast things will grow on them. But the actual shape and the holes in it, the holes are there for fish. And speaking
cool.
with different marine biologists and the Army Corps of Engineers, they thought it would be a great idea to have 3-inch holes at the bottom, 2-inch holes at the top, and they're on different sides. And that gives the smaller fish a place to hide and thrive. It's just a great way to promote and build the fish in that area wherever we place our memorials. So we're also providing structure, because a lot of the areas we're in, like in Florida, a lot of the areas we're in are just a sandy bottom. There's no reason for fish to be there. They need structure to be around, to hide around, to stay safe from larger predators. So we're providing structure for these fish, so the fish populations can actually grow and benefit from our memorials being placed in this area. And then the reason for our ingredients, the coral calcium and the oyster shells, it just tends to speed the growth of oysters, barnacles, seagrass, things that will grow on the actual memorials.
Right, so that's their natural growing environment.
Exactly.
So, okay, very cool. Wow. So along with it being environmentally beneficial, this is a very unique way to bury a loved one. Is that what you would call it? I mean, what do you know?
Well, we don't call them burials. We call them deployments.
Okay.
Because we're actually deploying a memorial. And, burial, of course, is done typically in the ground. And there are a lot of other options. A lot of people like that option, and that's fine if that's what they choose to go with.
Sure.
We're just providing a different option for people, and that's much more affordable, typically. And, like I said, environmentally beneficial is what really makes a big difference.
Now, so you talked about the shape, the tetrahedron,
right?
The plaque on top, the holes on the sides for the fish. Where do the cremains? Is that
That's
what you call it?
right term?
Okay.
Yeah. So cremains, I'm guessing that term originated from people too lazy to say cremated remains.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's also a 4-inch hole in the very bottom of it.
Okay.
And within that hole is where the remains go, and then it's plugged at the bottom.
Okay.
And so they are actually in the center of this. They're not. A lot of people ask me, "Hey, are the remains mixed in the actual mix?" They're not, because that mix is exactly where it needs to be and made the way it needs to be to promote the most growth.
Gotcha.
So, not putting the remains in the mixture; it's actually put in the center of it.
Now, you did share a story earlier where it wasn't just the person's remains that went into the monument.
That was a little different.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had an inquiry from a customer, and she said her husband actually really loved his cats, and she had the remains of the cats on the shelf, and wanted to know if we can put them in with the husband. Well, technically, I'm not allowed to do that according to the EPA. So we didn't. I told her, I really can't do that. But what I can do is I can take the remains of the cats and actually mix it into the memorial mortar. So that's what we did, and I'm really hoping that he truly loved cats, and she's just not burying him with some animals that he hates forever. I don't know, but I'm hoping that's the case.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Phenomenal. So you mentioned reef sites off the coast of Virginia, Carolinas.
Actually in the bay, at the mouth of the bay, at near Cape Charles, and then South Carolina, and then Florida, on the west coast of Florida. We are working on other sites right now. Like I said, each individual state has a lot of hoops to jump through, and regulatory agencies that you've got to deal with. So we have to look at all those, and some of them might make it too difficult to actually work in, and if that's the case, we'll have plenty of other options for our customers.
Right. So, are you at any of these sites actually? You mentioned the sandy bottom and then adding that. Are any of these places you're adding to existing reef, or
Yes.
is that what? Okay.
Yeah, some of them, like the one in Virginia, that reef has a lot of other structure down there already. Most of the reef sites in each state are about a quarter mile by quarter mile. So some of the, like in Florida, some of the counties will actually add bridges that they'll take down to a reef site to give structure, and it just really gives a great area for fish to thrive. So yeah, so sometimes they'll be in a site with other things that could be down there, which is just more fish.
Are these reefs multi-purpose, as in not just to kind of give a spot for fish to thrive and plants and things like that? Are they also in some way a barrier to, I don't know, hurricane waves coming in, or is it like that or no?
Not really,
Okay.
because they're underwater. I mean, it may make a little bit of a difference, but
Okay.
typically everything on these reefs are so far underwater that they're not going to affect
Gotcha.
wave formations.
Okay. All right, cool. Wow. So talk about the future of Reef in Peace. What do you see?
I see this industry being in its absolute infancy, and I see Reef in Peace, this entire process, this entire way of sending our loved ones to a beautiful spot forever. I see this as becoming one of the most popular ways to do it. It's by far, right now, it's more cost efficient. It's definitely more beneficial for the environment. And it's something that if the family wants to visit, they're going to receive a plaque. It's going to have the latitude, longitude, depth, the date of deployment. It'll have all the pertinent information on it. And almost any place we go, they can actually rent a boat, or they can have a captain take them out to that site and be within a few feet of the actual deployment site. Like I said, in Florida is the best place because the water's so clear that they can actually see it from the surface on a good day. In Virginia, I don't think they'll ever see it again because it is 30 foot of water. The bottom isn't quite the same structure. It's a little murkier. South Carolina, the same thing. There's a little more sand in South Carolina, but the water isn't quite as clear as Florida. But we have a lot of people that in the Chesapeake Bay, they've worked on the Chesapeake Bay their whole life, whether it be in a tugboat or they're crabbers or they're oystermen, and their families, they want them to be back in that same type of environment. So everybody has their different reasons for different locations that they love and where they want their loved ones.
Wow. So I mentioned at the beginning here, understanding a little bit of your background, the multiple businesses you've owned.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to business owners about starting a business, and this is not the first one that you started. So what maybe sage wisdom can you offer somebody that has a great idea and wants to start a business and needs a little bit of maybe some direction?
I've always approached things a little different than most entrepreneurs, and my way might not be the best way.
Okay.
A lot of people are in a business for the strict purpose of making loads of money. Well, that's not my purpose in a business. My purpose in a business is providing value, a quality service, a quality product for my customers. And in doing that, the profitability comes down the road. But, when you're really providing something that's special to these families, that will come across in your countenance. People will see that in your personality. People will see that in your attitude. They'll understand you're here to help them, to work with them. And almost any business can really thrive by an entrepreneur starting it out in a manner of, I'm here to go over and above anything ever expected of me. I'm going to provide more than you expect. I'm going to do more than you expect. And you're just going to love when we finish our product. So that attitude will grow profitability within any business. Some business owners have it, and some business owners thrive very well without that attitude. They're in it for the money, but they might have a fantastic product, and that fantastic product sells. Well, I think at Reef in Peace we have it all. I believe we have a fantastic product. We have an unbelievable service that you're not going to find anywhere else at an amazing price. And our core values of, we want to do what's right for those families. We want to give them an option that is just, like I said, affordable and environmentally beneficial at the same time.
Fantastic. Well, I can't think of really any other questions I have. I know it's one of those things where I'll get an idea later. But Brian, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. And one question I really enjoy asking business owners when I interview is what do you, Brian Bayford, and then what does Reef in Peace need right now?
Right now we need people that are just looking for a better option or a different option. There is probably, I would bet there's 30 million people in our country with Aunt Mabel or mom or dad on the shelf, or their husband or their wife sitting in a corner somewhere in an urn, and they just don't know what to do with those remains. We are a great option for all those things. So, do something environmentally beneficial. Do something that's memorable, and they'll be placed in a beautiful place. Right now we need people just to give us a call, and we can get calls and get cremated remains from anywhere in the country. So in any state, they can send us the remains, and we'll take care of their loved ones. The other thing we're looking to do in expanding is, right now I think I have a good person for the state of Florida, but we are also looking for somebody to act as a representative for the company in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. I'll probably handle most of Virginia myself, but so we're expanding the company, and also providing some employment for people.
Fantastic. Where can people reach out to you? How can you best be contacted?
Best way to contact us is through reefinpeace.com. And please look at our videos. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, and of course on our website.
Wonderful. Brian, it's great to know you as a friend, man. Thank you so much for having us down. All right.
Thank you, sir.